Hi. Oh my goodness. Things are shaking up. I'm here and I'm live. So we're going to wait a few minutes for folks to come online. And once you're here, do me a favor. Tell me where you are watching from. Tell me hello and where you're watching from. Let's see. I see Sasha. I see a bunch of other people coming on. This is amazing. So tell me where in the world you are right now. I always find that fascinating and fun, and it's just great to feel that connection with so many people around the world. All right, let's see. Yes, Yenti. I don't see any location so far, so you guys got to take up a notch. Austin, Texas. There we go. London. What's happening? Oh my goodness. NYC. Neighbors in the house. Somebody's in South Carolina. Mombra is in Mexico. We've got somebody in Barcelona, Spain. Oh my goodness. Hello from London. This is beautiful. Long Island. What is up? Heck yes, y'all. Mexico's in the house. Budapest. See, this is what I'm talking about. You get to get that feeling, that flavor that we're all in this and connected because we actually are. So we're all hanging out now. I'm just waiting for folks to come on. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This afternoon, I'm going to be giving you the 5-part framework for becoming a time genius. I am so excited to hand this framework to you because not only has it made a huge difference in my personal life, my team has been going through this content and it has changed them radically. And we are actually just getting ready for our first class, which is starting next week. So I hope you're going to join us. We'll talk more about the program in a little bit, but I want to make sure that you leave with this 5-part framework today because I really think it'll change the way you're thinking about how you get things done, your ability to be joyfully productive, and just really how you move through the world so you can have less overwhelm, less stress, less feeling like you're behind, feeling like you're pulled in a million different directions, and you can have more meaningful accomplishment. You can feel better when you wake up in the morning and actually be excited for your day. You can go to bed feeling really satisfied and really appreciative of yourself for focusing on what matters. You can watch those important projects actually come to life, whether it's finishing your book or creating that course or making a move or starting a family or entering a new chapter into your life, whatever the thing is that is going to be your primary project or something that you're really excited about. I want to help you see that come to life in a way that doesn't burn you out, in a way that doesn't leave you stressed and feeling like you have to make a choice between having your definition of success and actually feeling good about yourself too. So one thing, I'm hearing some incredible thunder and rain here. I am out in New York and I happen to actually love the rain. I think it's super cozy. So hopefully the internet will hold up, but if it doesn't, that's just life, that's how it is. So let's see, we've got people here from India. This is amazing. I'm just gonna scroll back. England's in the house. Oh my goodness, South America's here. Oh my gosh, hi, at Here We Read. I'm so happy to see you. Hello from Poland, Brazil. This is fantastic. Okay, so as I promised today, in just a few minutes, we're gonna get to giving you the 5-part framework to becoming a time genius. But before we do that, I actually wanna give you a little bit of the backstory about how this came about. And the truth of the matter is that I created this framework. It's kind of been brewing in me for a long time, but it all actually came together as a result of probably one of the hardest, darkest, most difficult parts of my life. So let me take you back. Let's see, it was the fall of 2020, so literally a year ago, and I had just lost my grandma, who was amazing. Hi Norma, love you, to COVID. I had also just recently lost my dear friend, like my best friend from college, who passed away in her sleep unexpectedly overnight. She went to bed and she didn't wake up, and she was the mom of 2 gorgeous kids, and that really rocked me to my core. And then, apart from everything else that, again, we've all kind of experienced as a result of last year, I found myself on the phone with a dear friend of mine, my best friend Chris, who happens to live with stage 4 cancer. And we're on FaceTime and we're talking, and I said, ow, I had this like pain on my side. And she's like, hey, what was that? What did you just do? Because she saw me. And I said, no, it's nothing. I was probably eating something that I shouldn't be eating. I probably had popcorn last night. I shouldn't have had as much. I need to just stop eating that. And she's like, not so fast, Marie. She's like, whatever just happened, you need to go get that checked out. And I'm like, Chris, no, we are in the middle of a global pandemic. I am not going to find my way into a medical center and risk, possibly getting sick and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm fine. Look at me. I'm strong. I'm great. She said, this is non-negotiable. You are going to make this happen. I basically can't argue with her because of what she's been through for, the past few decades. So I said, okay, fine. I went and got a bunch of blood tests done. Thank goodness those came back. Everything was all right. I went and got a mammogram, which I had actually never gotten before. Thank goodness that came back and everything was all right. Then I got the ultrasound, and I am laying there on this cold metal table in one of those little paper gowns, as we do when we're getting ultrasounds. And the woman is, radiologist, she's working over with her wand, fine. And she comes down to my lower abdomen, and her face her eyes bulged out, and she's like, whoa! And she literally flips the screen, and she's like, Marie, did you know that you have a tumor the size of a grapefruit growing outside of your uterus? And I'm laying there in my paper gown, and I'm like, no, I didn't. So both shock from her frankness, which by the way, I really appreciated, but what does this mean? And she said, that's not the only one. She's like, I think everything's going to be okay, but we need to get you to a gynecologist immediately. So I just started to feel terrified, of course. Went to the doctor, talked about all the things, and it looked like the best course of action was to get an urgent hysterectomy. And I was like, okay, this doesn't sound quite like a lot of fun, but this is what we need to do. Again, global pandemic, starting to feel nervous, kind of haven't had time to grieve all of the losses, all of those different things. So cut forward, and it's maybe the weekend before my surgery, and Josh, my partner, who I love more than anything in the world, he was already booked to work on a film in Ukraine. So he had just left, and he was like, you're going to be fine. And again, placing this in context, no one could be with me because, again, pandemic. He lands overseas, and I'm so excited to talk with him, and just wanting to get that little minute of connection because I am really scared and terrified about what's about to happen for me. And I get a text from him. He said, are you sitting down? I was like, yeah. I said, is everything okay? He's like, I need to tell you something. And so I get on the phone, and he's like, I don't want you to worry, but I just tested positive for COVID. And I was like, I'm not kidding you, y'all. The ugly tears and the crying, and I was just like, no! At that moment in time, this is kind of previous to where we are now, all the dark thoughts were running through my head. Is Josh gonna die this awful death alone in a foreign country? Can't go get him. Am I gonna die on the operating table? Is this it? It was just all of those really deep but important feelings of one's own mortality were right on the table in front of me. And I was practically inconsolable that weekend. It turned out Josh was actually in the hospital. There was just these escalations of things getting worse. And it really made me think about how I'm spending my time and how I'm spending my life, and what have I done so far, and what do I want to do going forward. Now, just cut to the end of that story. Josh is fine. He's great. I had my surgery. That all turned out great. So everything, thankfully, was wonderful. But it did bring this project into focus for me, because I will admit, the past few years of my career, I started feeling these levels of pressure and these levels of anxiety and these levels of you have to get so much done. It just felt exhausting. And I kept asking myself, I'm really good at self-care. I'm really good at prioritizing and all those things. But it just felt like this level of expectation that was overwhelming to me. And I'm like, something is wrong. Is this just me? Do I feel like the pace that we're supposed to go at, the pace that we're supposed to show up at, this just feels unsustainable. It doesn't feel joyful. It doesn't feel like how we're meant to live. It doesn't feel like we are prioritizing the right things in terms of health and family and joy and creativity. There was just so much in this push and this hustle. And again, I have a very strong work ethic, so I'm not putting that down. That's kind of like my core. It's a strength. But this just felt like a gross amplification in such a level that it was destructive. And I said to myself, I wonder if it's just me who's been struggling with this. Is it just me? And the only way that I know if it's not just me is I ask. So I wrote up an email and I did a little survey and I sent it out to our audience via email. And wouldn't you know it, within 3 days, we had over 7,000 responses. And I asked basically what are the things that you struggle with when it comes to productivity and using your time and feeling good about not only the things that you're getting done, but just how you're moving through your life. And let me tell you, these responses just absolutely blew my mind. By the way, I'm going to close my door because the rain is coming down so loud. It's really beautiful, but I want to be able to hear a little bit better. Okay, good. I'm back. So the responses just floored me, and I read all of them. I started crying because there were so many stories in there that were echoing the sentiments that I was feeling, that everything was just unsustainable and people were really at their breaking point and feeling like they are so far behind where they think they should be in life, feeling like they never get to exercise, they never get to dream or lay in the grass or find time to sing or to dance or to just be with their kids or to be with their loved one. It's just this constant drive to do more and to achieve more and to be more. I know the rain is loud. This is just what happens. This is nature. So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that little bit of a story about how this came about. And so for me, I've always been really, really passionate about how to use my time effectively. It's one of the things I've been obsessed with for most of my career. But I started digging deeper into the research and I started digging deeper into how can I shift this so I am no longer operating in a way where I feel pulled into this culture of nonstop busyness. How can I set myself up understanding what I know about neuroscience, about behavioral science, about human nature, about psychology? How can I create a system for myself so that I am being as joyfully productive as possible, and I'm opting out, quite frankly, of all of these unrealistic expectations and these crushing demands that seem to keep seeping in, whether it's from email or social media or the outside world or whatever. So I created this 5-part framework that has turned into this incredibly transformative program. It has changed me. These are things that I've practiced along the way, but it wasn't until I put it all together in this framework that things really started to click. And I'll be honest with you, when I was creating this, I actually felt myself change on a cellular level. There were things that I would struggle with for years that since this all came together, I feel like a new human. I feel like a completely new person. Even today, this morning, like when I woke up and I got going with my day, there was such a sense of ease and joy to it. I got to get a little bit of things done that I needed to do from a career standpoint, and then I was able to go out and take one of my favorite yoga classes with one of my favorite teachers in the world, and then come back and work with my team, and got so many different things done before being with you here today. I can see about, what I'm going to make for dinner later. It's just a completely different essence of how I'm moving through my life. Honestly, I feel healthier from the inside out. I feel like I am nicer and kinder to myself, and I feel less hooked in and less compelled to strive for or to compete with or to chase things that frankly I don't even care about. So let me walk you through this 5-part framework. The very first one, and I want you to write this down, 5 parts. Step number 1 is you have to escape the world of time stress. So escape the world of time stress. So step 1 in becoming a time genius is actually a mindset shift. We go into this deep in the program, which by the way, if you want to check it out, you can go to jointimegenius.com/enroll, jointimegenius.com/enroll, and you can see everything. But step 1 in becoming a time genius is you have to shift this thing. If you don't shift your mindset out of the world of what I call time stress, which is 24/7, 365 hustle, and adopt a new paradigm, which is called being a time genius, where in that paradigm, there's always time for what's most important. You have more than enough time to do what you need, and you're not interested in chasing or cramming things into every little nanosecond of your day, but rather having more ease and more flow because you know what's important in your life. So escaping the world of time stress and shifting this thing so you don't live in a constant state of overwhelm is step number 1 in the framework. Step number 2 in the framework is you have to know what's important so you can ignore what's not. This step is all about understanding what's most important to you at this stage and season of your life. That little bit, stage and season of your life, is so important. I cannot emphasize it enough. You know, if you are just starting a family and you've got little ones at home, that's a very specific stage and season of your life. If you are just coming out of college, right, and you're looking for your first job, that's a very specific stage and season of your life. If you've been growing your business for a while and you've been at it and you're quite successful and you're asking yourself, well, what might be next for me, right? Maybe I've done all the hustling, I've done all the grinding, and I'm looking for an elevated experience of living that's kind of in a different way. That's a very different stage and season of life. So step number 2 in the Time Genius 5-part framework is know what's important so you can ignore what's not. Now, in Time Genius, we go very, very deep into how to figure out what's most important to you at this stage and season of your life, because that's the place that I've seen people get tripped up the most. Most people don't know this, but overwhelm is actually a function of a lack of clarity. If you don't have clarity on what's most important, it is really easy to slip into this mistaken idea that everything is equally important. I've heard this so many times, especially when we were doing the research with our audience. So many folks struggle with this, and I'm curious if you struggle with this too. This notion of, I have so much to do and everything is important. Everything has to get done. I don't know how it's going to happen, but every single one of these things is equally as important and I don't know what to do first. Does that ever resonate? If that feels like something that you struggle with from time to time, I promise you it is a function of not having clarity around what's most important at this stage and season of your life. There's actually an exercise. It's a proprietary process that we take you through. Someone else was asking for the website. If you go to jointimegenius.com/enroll, you'll see the actual program. If you go to jointimegenius.com, we have a free masterclass there that you absolutely should take advantage of because it's only up for a few more days. But back to the proprietary exercise. So when you're figuring out for yourself what's most important so you can ignore what's not, this process called the Simplified to Amplify Audit will help you take stock of everything that you have going on at this stage and season of your life and be able to look at it through both an objective lens of what is this providing for your life, not just financially, but in terms of emotions and joy and energy, so that you're not just looking at things from kind of this cold, heartless place, but you're looking at your life holistically and you're making decisions about, okay, well, where am I right now? And where would I like to go in this next 3 months, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years? And how can I line up my time so that the things I'm investing in are both joyful, giving of energy, and helping me stay on the path that I feel is most true to my heart and soul? So there is, I think, step 2, and again, we walk you through this, and I want to walk you through this, like take your hand and teach this to you. This is probably one of the most powerful things I've ever done in my life. And any time that I feel lost or untethered or like, gosh, I don't know what I should be focused on, it is because I have not done this. I have not sat down to clarify what is most important to me at this particular stage and season of my life. And I want to underscore that one more time before moving on to step 3 in the framework, is because for folks that are multi-passionate, right? I'm the queen, I'm the OG, I'm the original multi-passionate entrepreneur. You have to understand that you don't have to do everything right now. All of your different passions, all of your different projects, those don't have to come to life right now. It doesn't mean that you give them up. It doesn't mean that you ignore them, but it means that you become nuanced and more sophisticated in terms of what you are prioritizing now versus what you realize when you tap deep into your heart and into your inner wisdom. What is actually going to say, you know what, like that's actually for me a little bit later. Let me give you a contextual example in my own life. So I'm having so much fun gently learning Italian. What do I mean by that? It is not my primary project right now, but it is something that fuels my brain, fuels my mind, helps me to have fun, but it's not something that I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to focus on this because I am absolutely committed to learn to speak, fluent Italian in the next 6 months. That's not my current reality. It's not my current priority, but I do have that passion built into my day in such a way where it gives me joy. I'm learning new vocabulary. It doesn't feel overwhelming. I don't feel bad. It just sparks for me because I know that at this stage and season of my life, that is not what I'm focused on, because I know in my soul that's actually for a later stage of my life, God willing, that I get there. And if I don't get there, I'll be in a whole other cosmic realm where I'm sure I can speak every language. That'll be really fun. But does that make sense? So I'm not putting pressure on myself about engaging with all of my passions at the same time, and I'm still multi-passionate. So, okay, that is step number 2 in the framework. Let's go to step number 3. Time Genius framework, how to be a time genius. Step number 3 is you have to make your success inevitable. Make your success inevitable. So what does that mean? One of the things that I discovered doing the research with our particular audience was that so many people wake up and don't have a plan for their day. They kind of haphazardly stumble into whatever they're about to do, and they're having conversations like, oh, well, should I meditate or should I journal? And which project should I work on first? And, oh, maybe I should check my email. Oh yeah, I'll go check my email. Or you know what, maybe I'll check social. So waking up and going into your day without a plan is a really bad idea, especially if you're ambitious, especially if you're like me, someone who has ADHD. Not a good thing to do. It just creates chaos, it creates spinning out, and it makes it so that you're likely not going to be spending your time or energy not only on what's important to you, but you're going to be dominated by the agendas of other people in your email, in your environment, in your social environment. You are going to be drowning in a tsunami of other people's ideas, demands, and expectations. And so it's no wonder that you would be feeling at the end of your day like, oh my gosh, I just worked my face off and I don't even know what the hell got done. And my to-do list seems longer than ever. And I don't feel like I'm making any progress on my dreams. And I'm certainly not moving forward on what's most important, yet I'm exhausted. So if that resonates for you, there's a really good chance that you're not making your success inevitable. And what I want to teach you how to do in Time Genius, again, and I created these tools, you all, because I need them myself. You have to understand, I am not a person that was born with an ability to focus perfectly. Again, I have ADHD. I am not a person that was gifted with one gift or one focus. I am a multi-passionate person. So I had to devise these very beautiful systems to set myself up so that my success becomes practically inevitable. And what do I mean by that? I mean the way that I set up myself before I go to bed, the way that I set myself up in the morning, the way that I have a simple plan about what to get done that's not 10 miles long. There's many people out there, and God bless them, they will schedule themselves within an inch of their life, right? Like every single minute there's another phone call and this and that and the other thing. And some people, God bless them, if that's how they thrive, we honor them, right? It's amazing. But for me, I am someone who thrives with more fluidity, with more flexibility. The fact that, I have an amazing dog, I have an amazing partner, there's a lot of movement in my life. And I mean, come on, y'all, let's just be real. The best laid plans don't always come to be because life happens. People get sick, you get sick, technology breaks, climate things happen, global things happen. There's all kinds of unexpected hardships, challenges, obstacles that will pop up. But when you make your success inevitable as part of this Time Genius framework, what happens is you give yourself the best possible chance of spending time on what you feel is most important, and you have built-in buffers and flexibility for those oh shit moments when the shiitake hits the fan and you're like, okay, I did not plan for that, but that just came on my lap and I need to handle it like a professional. So that's step number 3 in the framework. Step number 4. So let's just review really fast. Step number 1, escape the world of time stress. That means you have to adopt a new paradigm. You have to make a mindset shift. I'm going to teach you how to change your beliefs around time. It's genius. It's backed up by research and science. It has helped me tremendously, someone who used to live in a state of overwhelm, who absolutely does not feel overwhelmed at all anymore. Step 2, know what's important so you can ignore what's not. This is critical. Step 3 is make your success inevitable. And then step 4 in the framework is you need to train yourself to get things done joyfully. So what does that mean? That means that there are always 2 ways to go about getting anything done, right? I've seen this in my own life where if I am doing something, whether it's in my business or in my personal life, begrudgingly, I suffer. If I'm straining, I'm hard on myself, like, oh my God, I gotta get this done. I gotta go as fast as possible. Right? That's the energy of getting things done. So no wonder at the end of my day, I feel resentful. No wonder at the end of my day, I feel exhausted, like I need to collapse on the couch and just shove, potato chips and popcorn and ice cream into my face and just stare at the TV. It's understandable that I would operate that way. And I used to be quite honest with you, think I had to muscle it through and push through and force through everything because that was just the way that I was doing it. And I didn't realize that there was this whole other methodology, this whole other way that's based in behavioral science, that's based in neuroscience, and that includes the wisdom of the body, that I could actually get things done joyfully and with a lot more ease, even things that were tedious, even things that we can't necessarily hire out or delegate, only the things that I could do. So there's a whole set of tools inside of Time Genius in terms of module 4, which is step 4 in the framework, get it done joyfully, that funny enough, some of even the most skeptical people on my team have been experimenting with. They're like, all right, this shit actually works, Marie. And by the way, just so you know, I have folks on my team that are just brilliant. They are all so intelligent, but we all bring our different perspectives to the table. And one of the folks on my team is admittedly, she's not into personal development. She is not into the world of self-help. She thinks a lot of it is just not for her. So it was really fun for me to test drive all of these strategies on her in specific because I knew she was going to be a tough cookie. And she's like, all right, you got this, actually works. So there is a whole science to getting things done joyfully. It's something that you can train in yourself, especially if you're someone who tends to be really hard on you, if you tend to get things done with a sense of, even if it's secret, a little bit of resentment, if you feel begrudging, if you kind of look around your environment and feel like you're the only one who does anything and everything's always on your shoulders and the folks in your house and the people that you love don't necessarily pull their own weight, there is a way to start to shift that. And you can shift it within yourself. So that is step number 4 in the framework. And then step number 5 in how to be a time genius is you need to set yourself up to stay consistent long-term. This was actually really interesting because we had a Marie TV question asker, I think it was just last week, who asked the brilliant question that I think we can all relate to, which was like, why do we start doing things that are really good for ourselves? So for her, I think it was riding her stationary bike for 20 minutes every morning. And she was doing it for 2 weeks and she felt like she was the best. She's like, wow, I am taking care of myself. Look at me go. And then she fell off the wagon. And she's like, why do we stop doing things that we know are good for us, especially when we've made time in the past to actually make them happen? Like, I see that I could do it. Why don't I keep doing it? So if anyone ever has experienced that, you are going to love this particular part of the framework, which is stay consistent over the long term. I've had to do this for myself. So there are ways and simple systems that you can put in place that are rooted in science, rock solid science, to help yourself stay consistent over the long term. And here's what's cool. You don't have to lock yourself into a rigid system. So I know how to be consistent for the period that I need to be consistent for in order to reach the particular project or end goal that I need. Let me give you an example of that. So even when I was creating this particular program, Time Genius, I've been doing what I've been doing now for 2 decades. So I have 20 years worth of experience and research and my own pain and my own mistakes and all of the ways that I have screwed up my own life and my own processes to draw upon. And then I went deep into the research because I wanted to make this program. If you guys are familiar with my work, if you've done B-School or Copy Cure, if you've read Everything is Figureoutable or done anything that I've ever done, you know I like to go deep. I'm not a surface person, right? We have a lot of fun and we bring a lot of joy to it, but I want everything to have that breadth and that depth because my commitment to you is to help you get transformational results. So when I was creating this program, my consistency was off the charts. I mean, I did not miss a day when I had to get all of this out of my head and my heart and onto the page. But I knew that keeping that pace up, doing that kind of intense pouring out of me, that's not sustainable all the time, meaning 12 months out of the year, year after year after year. I know from formerly being a Nike professional elite dance athlete that the way that I operate best is actually I go deep and be consistent for a stretch of time, and then I get myself out and I get that flexibility and that flow back for a little stretch of time, and then I can go back in. So for anyone who is not or has trouble with being consistent, you don't have to feel scared that what you're gonna learn in Time Genius or what I'm gonna teach you is gonna be rigid, so you have to be one way for the rest of your life. There is so much flexibility in here in terms of honoring the stage and season that you're in, but also honoring how you work best. And I think that's often one of the challenges that I've run into sometimes with other approaches when it comes to productivity and time management, is that it feels extremely rigid and confining. And as a human being who absolutely values freedom, holy cow, freedom is my highest value. So that's why I was like, man, I'm going to build Time Genius for people that are a little different, a little weird, a little odd, a little built, in a strange way, like I am, so that you can feel that kind of flexibility. So one more time, I want to give you this framework, and then I actually want to tell you why, if it's right for you, I would love you to join us. The doors close this Thursday because I'm doing something that I've never done before in 20 years of coaching and training people, and I'm actually going to show you how it works. So the Time Genius 5-part framework, number 1 is escape the world of time stress. You have to shift your mindset and your beliefs around time in order to have anything else work. Trust me, there's no planner system, there's no calendar system, there's no app that's going to shift you feeling from overwhelmed and overstretched and underwater if you don't change this thing and you don't change this thing. So I'm going to help you make that shift in Time Genius, but just know that's part 1 of the framework. You have to escape the world of time stress. Step number 2 is you have to know what's important and ignore what's not. Everything is not important in your life right now. I promise you, that is a lie that you've been sold. Everything cannot be a priority. If everything's a priority, nothing is a priority. So I want to teach you how to really identify where the most joy, the most fulfillment, the most ROI financially and emotionally is going to come from for you, so you can make that wise decision, so you can feel really confident in what you say no to, and you can help yourself create the results that you want, but from a place of ease and passion, and you get pulled forward because you're so clear on what you know you need to and want to produce, because it's going to make such a huge difference. Number 3 is making your success inevitable. I want you to set yourself up to win. I want you to be kind to you. I want you to set up these simple structures so that you feel supported and loved, because you deserve that and you can give that to yourself. The world is not going to give it to you, and it's not going to happen haphazardly. You have to design it intentionally. I've designed systems that I know you can pull from. You can cherry pick what works for you, but I will give you the formula. I will give you the recipe so that every single day you can wake up feeling like, I know exactly what I'm going to work on. I don't need to look at my phone. I don't need to open my email until it's time to. And it still builds in that flexibility. So when life happens unexpectedly, you're not completely thrown off for days or weeks or feel like you're failing, because you're not. Step number 4 is you have to train yourself to get it it done joyfully. And again, that's possible. Even the kind of stuff that you don't want to do. Even when it comes to the taxes or filling out insurance forms or doing the things where you're like, oh, right? That no one else can do but you. And again, this isn't about getting it done joyfully. Isn't it about like hiring 50,000 people to run around and do things for you? A lot of people mistakenly think they're like, oh, Marie, you must have a huge team of personal assistants. Do you want to know how many personal assistants I have? 0. Absolutely none. I love my life the way it is. I do 90%, if not 100%, especially recently, my own shopping, my own cooking, my own cleaning. It's all good. And that's not to say that people that have help, that's beautiful too. My point is you don't need to hire a huge staff of people in order to get things done joyfully. It's very, very possible to make that happen for yourself in your own life and to train that behavior so that it's automatic for you. And then step number 5 is staying consistent over the long term. So much of this is science, and we just haven't been exposed to the science. You know, there's this great quote, not by me, but it's this notion that we are drowning in information, but we are starving for wisdom. And I think that there is so much wisdom in understanding some key behavioral science discoveries that will help you help yourself become more consistent over time so that you don't ride your bike for 2 weeks and be like, oh my gosh, I'm the best thing ever. And then you fall off the wagon and you're like, oh my God, why am I not doing that anymore? So there are really simple tricks that you can use for yourself. We teach you all of this in Time Genius, which I hope you're going to join us for. Okay, so that was the framework. Now, what I want to do is talk to you a little bit about why I'm so excited, because this is so different than anything I've done before. So as you guys know, I'm a coach at heart, right? That is what I do. That's what I'm trained in. And that's what I get so much joy out of, is helping people transform, being as your partner. Operating as someone who believes in you, who sees your strengths, who sees your possibilities, and just being that guide on your side to give you the nudges towards the strategies, the insights, kind of unlocking what may be blocking you so that you can move powerfully ahead, because that's what you were born to do. And for me, I have this deep belief that every single person, especially every single person watching right now, you have a special set of gifts that you and you alone are here on this earth to give. And part of my role is to help move those blocks out of your way so that you can contribute those gifts, because we need you. So I believe, and this may get a little out there, but it is the truth, it is my heart, that we are on the planet together at this particular time for a reason. We are sharing this time and space on earth for a reason. We chose, on some level, to be here at this particular moment in history because there's things that we need to collectively do together, to contribute together. So I believe part of my role is to help be that catalyst for you, again, helping you unlock your gifts so that you can help make this world a better place. So all that said, every single person who's enrolled in Time Genius, and by the way, if any of you are watching right now, I am so excited. But what you do when you come join us, you're actually going to fill out an intake form. And this intake form is already sparking ahas for people, where we've had notes of people writing in going like, oh my gosh, I get so much clarity already just from what you're making me answer in this form before the course even gets started. So here's what I wanted to show you. This is just the first part, right? This isn't even everybody. This is over 300 pages of the intake survey responses. So I am literally reading the dreams, the goals, the obstacles of every single person in this course. I am going through and absorbing every single day. I'm spending hours reading through what you want to accomplish so that I can walk through hand in hand with you and make sure that you achieve your goals. We have never done this in a program like this before. That's why I am so excited for this particular class of Time Genius. I don't know if we'll ever do it again, but I also want to read to you. I want to read some stories. Now, I'm not going to reveal any personal information. There are no names here, but I want you to just hear how other people are feeling and see if any of this resonates for you. So this particular student of Time Genius says, I've been feeling the effects of burnout like never before. I feel like our work is worth a lot more than what we charge for, yet I don't feel like I have the bandwidth to do all the things that could take us to that next level. I'm so tired of wearing all the hats, especially the ones that don't fit. This past year, the burnout and overwhelm has begun to feel so big and insurmountable that I've become paralyzed. I want to know we are safe. If that anything should happen tomorrow, there's a system in place to help us stay or get back on our feet. I want to be able to take a vacation without needing to bring my laptop. This one this got to my heart because that feeling of safety is something that we all need so much. And that ability to actually take a real break, to not bring your laptop with you. I actually think I was corresponding with someone in the course, and I was saying to them, I said, you know what? Don't take your laptop. And they said, thank you. What you were about to say, like I was about to go, oh, if I need it, and if I'm going to bring it with me on vacation just in case, but it's like no more just in case. So if you're someone who's been feeling the effects of burnout like never before, if you feel like your work is worth a lot more than what you charge for, and you just don't have the bandwidth to make the changes, please come join us for Time Genius. I promise you we will help get you out of that destructive, dysfunctional cycle of overwork and burnout and help you see a whole new possibility where there's joy and there's profits and there's space for you to think and imagine and dream into what's next. Let me just read you, again, there's a lot of stories. See if this one resonates for you. Okay, even though I have a really good life, it doesn't feel good most of the time. The more I sink into that low, procrastinating, guilt-ridden lifestyle, the more the joyful stuff in life slips away. At this point in my life, I'm someone who has the time to do whatever she wants, yet I don't. I hide and stay home and feel sad. The longer things go on like this, the more I lose, not just in terms of losing respect and mutual joy with the people I love, but in terms of losing myself amid the struggle. So, anyway, if that's someone like you who feels like, my goodness, you have a good life, but you don't enjoy it, that is something that we can help you fix in Time Genius. Now, I want to see if there are any questions here, and I think there might be any questions that I can take. Yes. All right. Great. This is from Joy. Let's pick this program. Let's see. How long is the program? Do you have a payment plan? Joy, yes, we do. So the program itself is actually, if you're able to carve out about 7 hours for the core content, that's all it's going to take for me to turn you from being time stressed into a time genius. So that's the core content. If you want to join in with live coaching for me, that's probably going to be another like 5 hours over the course of the week, but it all goes down really quickly. It's really digestible. It's really powerful and fun. And I think that you actually asked the question that's quite big. A lot of people going, oh my God, I need Time Genius, but I don't have the time for Time Genius. And I'll tell you this, if that's what you're thinking or feeling, you need Time Genius more than anyone else. Honestly, I've been in that space where I knew something needed to give and the voices in my head were just like, oh my God, I can't do it. I just can't find another little chunk of time to invest in myself or to even figure out how to do this differently. And trust me when I say that is when you need it the most, because you're probably at a breaking point. Your adrenals are probably shot. You're probably driving yourself near to, if not on the edge of a cliff. And I will tell you, human to human, don't do that to yourself. Don't take yourself to the point of burnout or exhaustion where you start to destroy the things that you love, like your business, like your relationships, or like your health. So this program is very, very fast. Someone says 7 hours over the course of a week, over the course of 7 days, honestly, over the course of a year. So you have an entire year to digest this. It's gonna be amazing. And yeah, if you are thinking to yourself, I don't have the time for Time Genius, that's your note that you should actually make it happen. Okay, let me see if there's another question here. I hope you guys got a lot. And she actually also asked, do you have a payment plan? Yes, we do. You can go to jointimegenius.com/enroll and you can see everything there. All right, let me see who else here. All right, Cynthia, actually in the comments right now, she says she's burning the candle at both ends, trying to be everything for everyone. Of course, I'm exhausted and not accomplishing my goals. Cynthia, yes. This is exactly the kind of thing where I think there are millions, if not billions of us in that particular state, and we don't need to live there. It's a big farce. It's a big lie that you should be working 24/7, 365. My love, you are not a computer. Computers are meant to work all the time. Even they need to take breaks and being rebooted, but human beings are not meant to work that way. It's not optimal. All right, let's see. And someone, Tanu says, I don't want to miss all the time with my kids. Exactly. That is exactly right. And you actually bring up a great point, because being in the trenches when you have young ones at home, that is such a unique time in your life, right? It's this beautiful, special window that will never come again. That's why actually when you join us for Time Genius, we have an incredible additional course called Time Genius for Parents. I actually took it upon myself. We hired a parenting expert. She's a genius. She's taught at Google. She's taught at major corporations. She has 5 little ones at home. She runs a multiple 6-figure business, and she lives and breathes Time Genius. So there is an entire course called Time Genius for Parents that's also included when you join us for Time Genius. So if you are a parent, know that we've got you covered. Most people don't know, like I have a grown stepson. So when he was a young boy, I went through that period. I understand what it's like, how hard it is to have young kids around and get breakfast on the table and get people out to school. And I was in a particular time where I was just starting to grow my business, so I understand how hard that can be. So if you are a parent listening, know that we got you. We got your back. We understand how incredibly challenging that particular time and season of life is, and we are totally here to support you. All right, let me see if we've got some more questions. Oh, great. Okay, Dog Alchemy asks a great question. Is it also for people just starting out in their business? So my answer to your question is 100% yes. First of all, Time Genius, it's not for just entrepreneurs or just for employees. We actually have worksheets that are geared for employees. If you're working on a team, you're working with a company, and we have other worksheets that are geared for employers, if you're an entrepreneur like I am. So it's not about that at all. It's about really shifting who you are from the inside out, and then it's going to be very easy for you to apply the tools and the strategies to your particular situation. All right, let me see who else we got over here. No, not that one. We're not going live in a room. Okay. Here's an entrepreneur question. Let's see this one. Let's see if it comes up. I'm an entrepreneur and have tons of good ideas, but tend to put energy at all at once. Is this for me? So I'm not sure if I understand your question exactly, but I will tell you this. If you are trying to execute on 10 different ideas at once, you're probably not being as effective as you could be. You may not understand which particular projects are going to likely give you the most ROI for your investment. And it's okay to have a few irons in the fire, but not too many. So if you're doing, again, like 7 to 10 at once, there's hardly any human on earth who could execute that effectively, and it's probably slowing you down. It's giving you a lot of self-doubt because you don't know where to put your attention or your focus. So in Time Genius, we will actually teach you how to evaluate those ideas more effectively. Okay, let's see. We'll see if we take 1 or 2 more. All right. Okay, let's see. Okay, Bettina in the Clouds. Great question. I want to save up for B-School, but this course sounds like I need it. What would you recommend? Okay, so this is a great question. So if time is something that you struggle with, meaning struggle with your ability to find time to either grow your business or start your business, I would say get your butt into Time Genius now. Everything that you learn in Time Genius, if it resonates for you, and you can go to jointimegenius.com/enroll, read everything, and then really sit within your heart. If that feels like, oh my goodness, yes, I need to learn all of this. I have had a dysfunctional relationship with time. I feel like I don't use it effectively. I feel like there's so much more that I could be accomplishing in a much more joyful way. I don't want to spend all my time on social. I don't want to spend all my time feeling bad or feeling guilty or feeling competitive with other people. Yes, get your butt in Time Genius because it will absolutely transform your life. If there's any part of you that reads that enrollment page and you're like, you know what, I really think I want to wait for B-School. Amazing. B-School will come up next year, but that's not happening until next year. And the thing is, if you join us for Time Genius now, there's a really good chance that how much you'll shift as a human being, who knows what you're going to be able to produce in the next few months. You might be able to do B-School too. So I wouldn't underestimate yourself. Most of us are way more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And when you have the right skills and the right mindset and the right ability to execute, you can create so much more abundance in terms of financial abundance and time abundance than you would ever imagine. Okay, so I am actually going to get back to reading a lot of these incredible entries. I cannot wait to work with you hand by hand in this program. It's going to be spectacular. So hopefully you enjoyed the 5-step framework to becoming a Time Genius. If you follow that framework, I guarantee you, you will see tremendous shifts in your life. And if you want my particular help with it, if you want to know exactly how I've done it and all the tools and strategies that I use every single day, then come join us for Time Genius. Enrollment closes Thursday, September 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Then the train will have left the station, so please come check it out now. And just thank you guys for being here. This was fantastic. It was so great to spend some time together. And if you have questions, you can let us know when you go to jointimegenius.com/enroll. You'll be able to see everything you need to see. It's very, very clear. And until next time, stay on your game and keep going for your big dreams, because the world really does need that very special gift that only you have. Thank you so much. Giving you a big hug. We'll see you soon.